I went to the pub for years after I left the Oak Trailers and got pissed. But one night I got really pissed, and unfortunately, I think I was sick on someone. Yeah, someone I really liked. I used to sit for hours and tell her jokes, and she liked them because they were innocent. But yeah, she won't even look at me now yet. It's history is that now. I think well, that was the thing. I don't think she knew why I was drunk, and I couldn't tell her. But I didn't know about stuff like that because I was brought up by a Victorian. All my grandparents were. If you look the official date for being a Victorian, they were all Victorian. They didn't know about stuff. Well, it wasn't allowed. There were all sorts of things in those days that weren't allowed, and some very stiff penalties like hanging, flogging, and birching. And if you birched or flogged, it was done in front of the town. Well, it was like a weekend spot, wasn't it? Oh, we've got the flogging. What was I going to say? I've forgotten. Yeah, what you give is what you get. That was one of the songs that was on. That was it, yeah. And at one point, I went to a relative's wedding, and one of the waitresses, she did have very soft eyes. I'd never seen eyes as soft as hers, but I did wonder if she wasn't. I never thought she'd be there to meet me because that was the thing I was told. I was a piece of crap, stupid and ugly when I was a kid until I believed it. So I still don't expect women to fancy me. Yeah, they think, why is he so stupid? Why doesn't he chat girls up and that? Well, if you've been sat on by somebody 3 times your size and weight daily in the summer holidays, and you know that your parents did nothing about it, you don't have much confidence after all that. And women don't like it, men who don't have much confidence. And that's the thing, yeah. I mean, I looked at this. It was a newspaper I wouldn't read. It wasn't even, what was it, It wasn't even Weekend or what was it was called, or I can't remember. It was just some cheap rag that I wouldn't read. And I read it. I looked at it. It was on the coffee table, placed there, sort of strategically. And I looked through it about 3 days after this wedding reception, and there was this girl's photograph, and it was supposedly Princess Stephanie. And I actually believed that, but it was just a wind-up, because that's the thing. There was a girl worked for a local radio station, looked like Princess Stephanie, called herself Princess Stephanie, hung around stars when they were drunk and got them to spill the beans, and she worked for the newspaper as well, and it would all be in the newspaper what they'd said. Yeah, not very nice. I bet anything that's who it was, because we weren't far away from that town where the radio station was. But yeah, of course, King Nothing would be on the jukebox about 15 times a night, and by Metallica, which I just got used to it. I mean, some of the stuff that put on, it was highly offensive, and it just didn't bother me because I'd had so much of this aggro at the Oak Trailers that it didn't bother me. I mean, I think they wanted me for the part that Nick Berry got in Heartbeat. Nick Berry worked in that factory. He isn't a Cockney. I've known him since I was 5 years old, and that's the thing. He got the job. He was in Heartbeat. He was the sergeant in Heartbeat. I think they wanted me for that, and they procrastinated. And while they were procrastinating, my health deteriorated, and I reverted back from this monster into me. So I was no good to them. They wanted me for rock bands, and also, you could do it. Yeah, well, that was the thing. I impressed the Duke of Kent with my driving skills in 1977. So he was possibly trying to make me into a racing driver and a rally driver. Now, to be a racing driver, you've got to be very fit and take hot heat. Well, I used to work in a dairy. You'd think that was cool. There was a boiler that dried 5 tons of milk powder an hour right next to me. The cooling fan blew onto me. The higher you went up this production plant, the hotter it got, because the heat rose. And it was unbelievably hot in there, and I used to sweat bucketfuls. My clothes would be soaked after 3/4 of an hour. Heavy denim jeans, t-shirt. I used to go up to work in a jumper in winter, and I'd have to take that off after about 1/4 of an hour because it'd be so hot. I'd have a t-shirt under my overalls, and you had to wear a hairnet and a hat because you don't want hair in milk powder because there's a lot of bacteria on it. There was the dryer, that was about the hottest place in that plant. The spray atomised milk in the top. It was about 2.5 stories high. When it got by the time it floated to the bottom, it was powder. They used to switch it off. 5 minutes later, you were in sweeping it down. Well, there was a big lad who used to do that. I couldn't do it. They tried me with that job because if I was going to become a foreman and be a permanent employee, I was on a part-time temporary contract, I'd have to be able to do that. I swept about 6 square feet. They said, "Come out, you're going to faint." They knew straight away I couldn't do it because it was as hot as, and you used a sweeping brush, a standard sweeping brush with a 12-foot extension handle on to reach the sides. So you're holding it at arm's length in red hot heat. I couldn't do it.